everybody, we're back for part 2. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the transition from going from college to the workforce, because that's kind of where we left off in my story. I graduated from college, super excited to be done, but that's not the end, right? College is supposed to be the beginning, because you do all this work for 4 years, you learn a trade, you learn your career field, and then you want to put it to use. So when I was getting ready to apply for jobs, I did this while I was still in school, so probably the second half of my last semester, so about 8 weeks or so before graduation, I started seriously looking at all the options. I cannot even tell you how much time I spent online researching potential career fields, because while I studied public relations, which is kind of communications, social media, events, things like that, I wasn't limited just to those jobs. But you have to look at what you are qualified for. Coming out of college, you're looking at more of what they call the entry-level position. So when I'm looking at a job, if it says 10 years of experience, I know that's not what I should apply for. And so I began just looking for anything and everything, honestly, that sounded remotely interesting or like something I thought I might enjoy. And I probably applied for, I don't know, maybe 30 jobs. I mean, it was a lot, and I think people get discouraged with the process because they're sending all these resumes out, they're putting in all these applications, and they're not getting the return that they expected. But you've got to remember that there's other people graduating, doing the same process, and the job market is being flooded with these resumes and applications. And so I tried to remain positive during that time, because for the 30 job applications that I put in, I probably heard back from 5 of them. And that sounds like a really small number, but it's actually not. It was actually good. And some jobs want to hear a little more. So some of them had, okay, you've applied, now fill out this questionnaire. Some of them it was, we'd like to schedule a phone interview. Another one, it was come to an in-person interview. And so little by little, as you do those things, you begin to kind of pare things down. Either the employer does it, they say, hey, you're probably not the best fit or what we're looking for right now, and that's okay. Or you do that yourself. The more you learn about a job, you're like, oh, that's not quite what I thought it would be. And you say, oh, I'm gonna pull my application. And that's okay too, because it's all about finding what you wanna do and what you're passionate about. And some people disagree with me on this, but I think life is way too short to spend 40 hours a week doing something you hate. And so I wanted a job that I knew I was gonna enjoy. And so where I landed was I went to an interview for Eastern Kentucky University for the country club that they operate. So the University Club at Arlington, and interviewed for the events coordinator position. And that's where I am now. I just had my 4-year work anniversary, as I like to call it. And so what I do there is I plan all of the events that the club hosts. I plan events with clients. So if you wanted to have your wedding or baby shower or class reunion or whatever it is, I work with you to make sure that's successful. And then I also manage all of the club's communications, so emails, website, social media. And so I really found somewhere that combined all of the things I loved about my degree and kind of put them together in one job, and it's been the perfect fit for me. I've been at Arlington, the University Club that EKU operates, for 4 years now, and I'm starting to think about how I want to grow professionally. What's the next best step for me? And so one thing I have to say is that your learning and your schooling is never over. And so I know you've probably heard your teacher say that, and you've probably rolled your eyes and thought, no, when I'm done with school, I'm done with school. But if you want to continue to grow, to have new opportunities, to have more doors open for you, you've got to continually be bettering yourself as a person, as an employee, and then for whatever you want next in life. And so one of the biggest things that I've done is I continue to seek out training opportunities, whether it's formal, where I go for a day and learn from someone, whether it's informal, of watching YouTube videos on topics I want to get better at. A lot of what you end up learning on the job sometimes is self-taught, because you've got this issue, and guess what? It's your job to figure it out now. You're a professional. And so there are times when I'm Googling things, how do I, whatever, and Google comes back and will tell me, and I have to work through that. Another thing is thinking about your personal growth, like what are you doing in your downtime, in your personal time, to better yourself as a person. And I talked about this in my keynote, about having those positive thoughts and the positive affirmations, and that's something I've been working on tremendously this last year. Because I will tell you that even if you are in a job that maybe you're like, oh, I don't want to be here, this is not what I envisioned for my life, you're not going to get out by hating where you are. I think you have to learn to embrace and love the season of life that you're in while you are continuing to better yourself for whatever the next step is and when that door is open. And then the other thing is you've got to seek out those opportunities. You can't just not put a resume out there and expect someone to come up to you and say, hey, we have this job making $5 million a year. Do you want it? It doesn't work that way. And so you have to be willing to go out there, to seek out those opportunities, and to put yourself out there even if you don't feel qualified. I read somewhere that I forget what percentage of people won't apply for a job unless they feel that they meet 100% of the qualifications. But if you do that, then there's really no more room for growth because you've already accomplished it. And so I think you have to leave room, I don't want to say flaws, but for inexperience or for things that you've not mastered yet. And that's okay, because that's what that job is going to help you do. That's what that next seminar or training opportunity is going to help you do. And so you have to keep seeking out those opportunities that take you a little bit outside your comfort zone, because you can't grow sitting where you are.